We're still at the Telluride Film Festival, and we just saw
last day.
We just saw Beast of No Nation,
which is Cary Fukunaga.
Cary Fukunaga?
Nawa or Naga? I don't remember.
Naga.
Cary Fukunaga. He did True Detective,
Sin Nombre,
Jane Eyre. Very talented guy. He's got a new feature film. That is the first film that Netflix has financed and completely made themselves.
It's a Netflix movie.
Netflix original movie.
But it's still a movie. It's
real
just
movie.
Under the Netflix
And we
umbrella.
weren't sure that this was actually going to play in theaters, so we thought this would be kind of a unique ride-home review because we did see it in a theater.
It is
on Netflix, but it will be in the U.S. and the U.K. coming to theaters apparently in October.
Yes.
You should see it in theaters.
It is a theater
theatrical film by every measure of the term. It's a loaded movie. It is it's about child warriors in Africa.
Yeah, child soldiers.
It's intense.
Who are kind of these guerrilla armies.
It follows one kid coming from his family going through
getting kidnapped,
turned into a soldier, and
it doesn't hold back. It's a heavy film, and it's disturbing as it should be, and it's violent, but it it really.
I think I don't think I've seen a war movie
gravity of the
as
situation.
kind of intense since like Apocalypse Now, and it's not exactly like that, but I think I feel like it's like Apocalypse Now with kids. In a way.
Yeah, I could see. There's shades of that for sure.
There's a lot of artistry in the way it's done. It's not quite as meditative as that movie, but
it's not like full-on war movie. It's more like these little gunfights, guerrilla.
Yeah, it's more about following this kid and his psyche.
You don't feel like you're watching a movie, though. You feel like you've been watching a documentary about war almost.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so
and
real.
Apparently they
very
very much
realistic.
made it for real, with a lot of real people and
They did.
soldiers.
The lead character, this little boy that you
Abraham,
follow,
I don't remember his last name.
they plucked him off the schoolyard in Africa, and he got the part, and he just nailed it. I mean, he's fantastic.
And Idris Elba plays his commandant or
Commander.
Commander.
Yeah, in this kind of guerrilla faction rebel thing.
He's like the big villain, so to speak.
And he recruits all these kids to be in their little army, and that unfortunately happens all the time. And is
what a hell of a performance from Idris Elba too. I mean,
it was amazing.
He nailed it.
Nailed it. Be a rough,
but
Oscar
it's
race.
very realistic, and that's because it was shot in Ghana.
Beautifully shot. And that's if
they had real, people there. A lot of, I can't speak to how much it felt like a documentary because of all the extras from around there and people who had been through it. So it just all seemed very real.
Right.
Yeah. If it weren't for I kind of recognize Idris Elba every now and then. Otherwise, I would not even be aware.
No, and he does a great. I mean, he falls in. He's completely believable. His accent.
You're
everything.
immersed. Into it all.
It's an intense. I mean,
and
I imagine there will be a lot of people that can't get through the whole thing because it's very. It does not hold back at all.
It's on defrost.
What I thought was particularly interesting was what they chose for the trailer was the scene of him hovering above the guy.
It was just one scene. Yeah, the trailer's just like a quick little scene of Idris Elba trying to tell the kid to kill a guy.
The first,
And you think, okay, that's probably one of the most intense parts, and not at all.
Yeah, that was just
easy.
I mean, it's realistic. I mean, it's basically what these kids are faced with. You're faced with death, or you join this group and kill, but it's the only family you'll have, and the only sense of only way to get food, and so they kill, and they're kids. They're influenced by all these drugs and people telling them what to do, and
it showed very, very clearly how all they're doing is making choices between things. They're not becoming bad people. They're not evil people. It's just that they get to either do this or
they're victims
this.
of their environment.
Well, the Q&A afterwards, the director was saying how once these kids kill the first time, it changes their psychology. Right off the bat.
He said some people can come back from it, some people can't.
So when you're a kid and you have that, and then you've lost your family,
right?
You're given drugs and not just pot. I mean, you're giving fucking heavy shit. Yeah, it's just not a good recipe.
It's very enlightening. I think everybody needs to watch this.
Yeah,
it's
an amazing film. It really is. I mean, it's
very well
required viewing of the year, I'd say.
And also,
very difficult.
His character, Idris Elba, like he said in the Q&A, they made him complex, so it's not as, you know, it's not like Last King of Scotland necessarily. Like it's not like that. Forrest Whitaker, like
it's not like Oscar bait,
or just kind of like
he's very like believable.
You just hate him because he's just like he's still a bad guy, but there's more to it.
Yeah, they spoke to that. They wanted him to not just be a cliche villain, but to have kind of shades of complexity and some gray areas.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if he was a villain for half the movie. You know, I was wondering if he was just the character that's redeemed or something. Or
I figured it pretty.
I think it was pretty clear.
Yeah.
But he was a complex villain.
I don't know if you redeem yourself from any of that.
Yeah.
But I do want to speak to the fact that it was like incredibly shot. I mean, and most of Cary Fukunaga's stuff is incredibly beautiful, and this was like just the photography in the jungle and just following these kids. It was gorgeous. There were moments where they did like some color change effects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they did kind of like
that was cool.
That was remarkable.
Oh yeah, the infrared kind of vibe.
That was awesome.
It was really awesome. So very kind of poetic in a way, visually, and
that was kind of like Apocalypse Now a little bit.
right. It gets a little. That's what it kind of makes me think.
And there's a lot of everyone just kind of moving. You're going. You don't know where you're.
Yeah, and the movie's kind of a journey. You're
stop,
following this kid
stop in these
town
places.
to town. So that's also the kind of Apocalypse Now vibe a little bit. Again, it's not just like that, but this stands out to me as a war movie in that kind of class.
They do go and they have to find this guy named Kurt. No, that's not what happens at all.
Marlon Brando is in it,
but yeah, it's just it's brutal, but it's
brutal.
It's
is a good word.
effectively
It's a very
brutal.
brutal movie,
and it's something you should.
Like I want to recommend it to everyone, but I feel like only like maybe 40% of the people I recommend it to will actually be able to sit through the whole thing.
Don't bring the kiddos. There are lots of kids in it, but they aren't doing good shit.
It's a kids movie. It's
they're
a kids movie, but not a
killing
kids
people
movie.
and doing some age.
Yeah.
Because that happens.
It was very weird because the kid, Abraham, who played the main character, he was there at the Q&A and he came out and got like a standing ovation. I think it made him cry a little bit.
He was really shy.
Was that his first appearance, maybe?
Yeah.
I think they were at Venice.
They said they were at Venice.
They just got here from Venice.
I mean, what happens to him now?
I guess like the Slumdog
Hopefully
kids,
not like Slumdog, where they just kind of get a moment in the spotlight and go back to poverty.
Or he could become like the next Annie, like the girl
He's a very
from
talented
Beast of the
kid, but it
Southern
is a
Wild.
very specific kind of role. Like
exactly.
He's playing the world that he's kind of somewhat.
But at least he was at
perfect for
school.
This. He will be remembered for this film for sure.
I don't know how you do that.
I mean,
I don't know how you.
This is not a movie of the week type thing. This is quite an epic undertaking.
I think like the most experienced actors couldn't even take that role, and then this little child.
Yeah.
In a way, it could only be a
they had
child.
they said they had like people on set that were real. There's one guy who's naked in the film. He's like, he looks crazy. And you're wondering, is that an actor? And they're like, no, he was a child soldier. And he's like, they said like on set at one point, he got mad at somebody who was like ripping him off with some money. And he's like, the director had to like calm him down, like, because it seemed like he was about to kill the guy.
He wanted to.
He was going to kill the guy.
Like, he's like,
he was like, no, don't kill him.
And like, but they was speaking to the fact that he's like, on one hand, he can be very happy and the nicest guy with a big smile, but that it can like turn like a dime back to that. It's just pretty crazy.
Yeah,
they're making the movie with that too. Like, I mean, this isn't like a Hollywood
It's a
production.
visual spectacle too, with all the messages, and it's kind of. It's also like a documentary. It's like you see. It's one of those things you watch and you go, "Oh my god, I can't believe this happens," and more people are talking about it.
It was like a conflicted experience because on one hand, I'm like awing at how beautifully shot. It's a gorgeously shot film.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, but then like the images are simultaneously gorgeous and horrifying.
Yeah. It's like there's beautiful cinematography, but they're stomping a little girl.
Right.
It's like
horrible stuff. It's like I want to go back and watch it to watch it, but then it's like I don't know if I can watch it again. Like it's so intense.
It's very, very good.
And just logistically too, like I can't fathom how they made that movie, getting all those extras and recreating those scenes.
In relation to what we're talking about, child soldiers, I think you can hold the camera.
I'm such an asshole. We're talking about like these child soldiers. I was like, oh, my arm from holding a GoPro. Sorry, continue, Erica.
Oh, I was just saying logistically, it's amazing that they were able to
pull it off. Yeah.
Get all these people together and
I can't
create
imagine.
these war scenes that seem so realistic, and it seems like
they
had the whole town behind these wars.
They said that they spoke to that in the Q&A too. They were like, the Ghana is a fairly peaceful country. They don't allow guns. They track the weapons and everything. They're like, we had to bring in all these guns, and we had to train all these civilians that live there to be our extras and how to use guns. And it's a very non-gun country.
Yeah.
If they told me they shot guerrilla style in a war, I would have believed it.
Yeah, I would have too.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. I
There
was
was
like,
no
are they
sign
crazy
of
enough?
any stability anywhere around.
Idris Elba said like he would show up to set and all the like soldiers would be like, sir, and like it's like, oh, we're not filming yet, guys.
Yeah.
Like it was very on the border of really doing it and really creating an army almost.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And they did. They created different units on set.
Interesting,
That's
though.
what they said.
Yeah, they weren't coordinating background extras to just like go from point A to point B, but they were just like, well, this is your job at this camp as the soldier, so you just go do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, it felt
That's
real.
a really smart way to do it,
real.
too.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Good.
So that's our Telluride run. We only did 2 films this year. Special ride home reviews. And we're going home. We'll be
2
back
films, 2 Q&A, 1 like director spotlight.
Yeah. Both equally awesome movies of totally different styles and subject matter. First world problems and third world problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching. And I'm gonna keep driving on this mountain.
Goodbye.
Bye.